Everyone, welcome back. We have made it to Venice. Welcome to our Venice vlog. I'm really excited to be here in Venice. I've always wanted to come here. Venezia is a magical city built on more than 100 tiny islands. From the moment you arrive, it's like stepping into a dream world of winding canals, historic bridges, and century-old buildings whispering stories of the past. I've literally 4 hours to explore this special place before jumping my next train to Milan, but I know already that I'm going to love it. So let's go off and explore the hidden corners, watch the gondolas on the Grand Canal, and get lost in a maze of narrow alleyways. But before we jump into all the Venetian magic, let me tell you what an absolute disaster my morning turned into, because my anxiety went right through the roof on this one. We were heading into day 7 and this is how our day began. I was told that we'd be docking right in the heart of Venice at 7 a.m. in the morning. That was perfect. I'd made plans. It was nice and easy, but no, because of the thick fog, the ship diverted and we ended up in a cruise port terminal called Fusina, which, let me tell you, it's basically in the middle of nowhere. Once I'd learnt of the diversion, I quickly Googled the Fusina cruise port, but it wasn't good. There's no taxi rank there, there's no buses, and because it was Sunday, nothing would be running until midday. There is a Vaporetto boat, but it was way too far for me to walk. It's a 40-minute walk, and with that heavy luggage, and also the only path that was there, it was a long, remote, unlit path, and it's around a dodgy industrial port in the dark. It's just not an option for us. The Google search pulled up some pretty rough reviews of this cruise port. There was things like, avoid this at all cost, worst cruise port ever, there's no transportation. One even said it's like being held hostage. I mean, I had no choice. I was heading there. I just had to deal with this situation. Upon docking, it quickly became apparent to me that this was actually a vehicle ferry. To make things worse, I was one of only 3 foot passengers, and as we disembarked, I had to stop with Marley for a toilet stop. I was carrying that heavy luggage, and by the time I reached the terminal building, which probably took me a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes, the other passengers had simply disappeared. The terminal building was closed. That didn't open until 8 a.m. There was no internet. I just had to wait. When the terminal building finally opened, the lady told me that taxis just simply will not come to the Fusina cruise port. I literally begged her. She was trying to help me out, and eventually around 9 a.m, the taxi phone lines did open up and she managed to get through to the rank. The drivers just would not take a dog. That's when it hit me, the panic, the hopelessness. I genuinely felt so disheartened. I was so desperate at this point, I even considered walking to the Vaporetto boat. It was brighter now, but it just still felt so unsafe around that dockyard. And physically, I just couldn't carry all that luggage. It said on Google Maps 40 minutes walk. It was taking me double the time to do these walks with all the luggage, carrying Marley, carrying the cage, carrying the backpack. I just couldn't do it. At 9:30, I couldn't believe my eyes. A taxi had pulled in. It was dropping off a member of staff. And I did ask him, didn't quite beg, but I did ask him, please take me and my dog. It's only a 16-minute drive. He agreed with Marley in his carry cage and at a cost of €40. But I didn't care. I'd have paid €400. I just wanted out of this ferry port. I'd been there 2.5 hours now. So we were finally in Venice. It was about 10 a.m. in the morning. I was so excited. I was so relieved. So let's go off and explore. As I step out of the taxi near the station Santa Lucia, the canals hit me instantly. It's breathtaking. I didn't expect to be so immersed in Venice right away. From here, the first bridge that many travellers see is the Ponte degli Scalzi, which crosses the Grand Canal. Its name means the Bridge of the Barefoots because of the convent that is nearby. From here you get classic views of the canal stretch, which is lined with old palaces, and you instantly understand and feel why Venice is so unique. The city was buzzing, and even out of season, the crowds are quite a shock. There's men hauling cases up and down the countless bridge steps, there's tourists everywhere, and I quickly realised that Venice is made for walking, but the pace is relentless. I was keeping my eye out for some local street food. I particularly like the look of the cannoli sweet treats. Venice is famous for some little snacks also called cicchetti. They're tiny snacks that you'll find served in the bars that are tucked away down the alleyways. Speaking of the alleyways, the streets opposite the canal are incredibly tight, almost labyrinth-like, and without Google Maps I'd have been completely lost. I guess it's part of Venice's charm, but it's also a little claustrophobic. Venice is full of helpful signposts pointing to major landmarks like the Rialto Bridge and Piazza San Marco. They're small, they're subtle, and they're easy to miss if you're distracted by the canals and the bridges, but they're a lifesaver when navigating the endless maze of streets. Honestly, finding your way feels a bit like a treasure hunt. Finally, I reached the famous Piazza San Marco. Stepping into Piazza San Marco, you instantly feel the grandeur of Venice. The square is buzzing with visitors, the street performers, and it's framed by historic buildings. Dominating the square is the St. Marco's Basilica with stunning Byzantine intricate mosaics that glint gold in the sunlight and tell centuries of Venetian history. St. Mark's, or San Marco, is probably one of the most iconic churches in the world, dating back to the 11th century, making it almost 1,000 years old today. The exterior is famous for its 5 domes and those incredible ornate marble columns, many of which were brought back from far-off lands during Venice's trading and military conquests, making each column different in colour. It's often called the Church of Gold thanks to more than 8,000 square metres of gold mosaics. The basilica is both a religious site and a symbol of Venice's wealth and power at the past. Along the edges of the square, cafes spill out onto the cobblestones, including the famous Cafe Florian, where live orchestras fill the air with classical music. Cafe Florian is one of the most iconic spots in Venice. It's considered one of the oldest cafes in Europe, having served its guests since 1720. There was no way I was going to try and get in with Marley, but we did stand and enjoy the music for a moment. I later found out that there's a surcharge per person of €6 to sit outside. Rialto Bridge is the oldest of Venice's 4 main bridges that span the Grand Canal. It was originally a simple wooden crossing in 1173, but was replaced in 1588 by today's stone arch bridge. It's been a bustling hub of commerce for centuries. Today, it's possibly one of the most photographed spots in Venice and a pure hotspot for tourists. Sadly, our time in Venice was almost over. We had a trek to get back to the station to catch our onward train to Milan. Marley was getting a bit tired with the crowds, as was I, to be honest. And we did see lots of other sights along the way, and we'll share the pictures here. So is Venice worth a visit? Honestly, it's possibly one of my favourite places that I've ever been to. I only had a couple of hours here and sadly it wasn't seeing it with Gary, but it still completely blew me away. The architecture is just unbelievable. It's so unique and so unlike anywhere else that I've seen. I'd definitely say it's a must-see. I would think it would be a brilliant weekend away for a couple, for a weekend break, but do be prepared for crowds. And yet, it can be a bit pricey. But you're only going to ride on a gondola once in your life, I'm sure. Oh, and by the way, the whole Venice stinks thing, it didn't smell at all when I was there, not even a tiny bit. So Venice, it just has this magic, and I think it's got everything. I absolutely loved it, and after the morning that I'd had, it was exactly what I needed. Join us next time. We are jumping the train through to Milan now. On arrival in Milan, it's our worst nightmare. We walk into massive riots and protests. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, here's a recap. As we leave Venice and head towards Milan, this is the recap of our journey so far. I've travelled 2,170 kilometres so far as a solo female backpacker, making my way from Turkey to the UK. Turkey was my home for the past 18 years, and I'm heading all the way across Europe using only ferries and trains, and doing all this with my 15-year-old dog, Marley. We began this epic adventure in Fethiye in southern Turkey, where I caught a day ferry across to the Greek island of Rhodes. There's a full vlog from Rhodes if you want to catch up and go back and watch it. I'll pin that in the link for you. On day 2, we boarded the overnight ferry to mainland Greece, arriving in Piraeus. That's the country's largest port. Again, there's a vlog from Piraeus if you've missed that one. From there, we explored the historic city of Athens before heading west to Patras for a 2-night ferry crossing north up the Adriatic Sea from Greece all the way up to Italy. And that brings us to day 7 when we arrived in Venice. There's 3 vlogs available for Rhodes, Piraeus and Athens, and of course Venice. So if you're new here, please feel free to catch up on our journey so far. Next, we're heading to Milan, and well, you'll see things don't quite go as smoothly as I'd expected. So please do stick around, hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and continue our adventure with us. Cheers, bye. We do have a Facebook page, Gary and Emma's Adventures, and we've got some big travel plans ahead over the next coming months. So if you could give us a like on Facebook, then you are not going to miss out on any of those adventures, and we'd love to take you along on our journey with us. Thank you so much for watching us in Venice, but if you could all just hit that subscribe button at the end of this video, it would really help the channel to grow. Thanks so much.